Hey guys, this is Calvin with Impruver. In today's video, we're going to walk through the brilliantly simple strategy deployment and execution functionality built into Improver. We call it Agile Strategy Execution, and in a moment, you'll see what makes it so agile and what makes it so special. So the first thing we'll show is the strategy deployment page. If you look across your header, you'll see something that looks like an org chart, says strategy board. You click on that, and that's how you access it. When your strategy board opens up, this is what you'll see. Let's make a couple adjustments so you can get a better view. At first glance, since I am logged in as Mr. Mike Harrison here, it will show me front and center, right? But it will also show my manager, who is Jack Johnson, and it'll show my team, which are Carlos, Maria, James, Christina, Jeff, and Bill, right? You can navigate across and up and down the org chart here and see how the rest of the organization looks. For example, this is Jack's team. This is Carlos's team. And there's Maria's team. This feature and this functionality is built for the continuous improvement leader who is trying to, again, deploy and execute strategy, but also wants a clear view of how everyone in the organization is doing against their most important thing to improve or their strategic goal, right? So the what makes Improver special in this way is that it sets one goal per person at a time. You can't get a great amount of focus and clarity and priority than that. You have one true North Star. So the way it works is, let's talk vertical alignment first, starting with Jack. So Jack has a goal to decrease unit cost to $500. That cascades to become Mike's challenge. And I'll show you where the challenge sits when we look at the storyboard. And Mike sets his goal to decrease operating costs. Mike's goal cascades to become the challenge for his team. So everybody has a common challenge. And then each person sets a goal relative to their unique scope of responsibility within the company, right? For example, Maria might be a quality leader. So she might look at how poor quality is encouraging higher cost. Carlos is the marketing leader. He may be looking at social media engagement. James is an operations leader. Christina might be a different operations leader or supervisor. And then there's Jeff and Bill, who may have different scopes of responsibility within the business. So typically, what you see with strategy deployment is you see one person with several goals. Here, you increase the clarity by saying, hey, Mike, we need you to have one goal, but then you can divide up how each person on your team would own a piece of that. So if they're all successful, then in theory, Mike should also be successful. So, in a sense, you achieve multiple goals per person through delegation. So again, vertical alignment goes from Jack to Mike to Maria to Dana, for example. But you also have horizontal alignment that might span across Mike's 6 direct reports. So I haven't showed you how to set goals yet. We'll do that in just a moment, but I'll show you something else here that's interesting, right? So once Mike's team members have all set goals, Mike could then go in and check these boxes to say, you know what? I'm aligned with your goal. I'm aligned with your deadline. Go do it, right? And if he wants a change, wants to request a change, he could simply click the person's name, Maria, for example, and it'll open up a chat conversation with Maria where they could perhaps dialogue a bit about the direction, distance, deadline of her goal. So let's zoom out for a second. If I am the continuous improvement leader, whether I'm a CI director, VP of ops, COO, CEO, who is dead set on ensuring that strategy gets deployed successfully, what I'm doing is looking at this org chart and I'm trying to find the weaknesses in the system, right? So let's say, again, I'm looking at Mike and Mike's team, right? I can see that Mike has a red semicircle, a partial circle around his profile picture. He also has a green bar around his profile picture, right? And what it's suggesting is that his progress is exceeding his deadline. So he is ahead of schedule. On the contrary, when I look at Christina, I can see that her deadline has exceeded her progress. So I can see that she is behind schedule. So if I'm Mike and I'm looking at this, what I'm thinking is, you know what? Everybody's tracking pretty well. Jeff has no goal. So I need to get Jeff a goal. So he's aligned and he's working toward the North Star and he's pulling his part of the chain. But I can see that Christina is quite a bit behind here. So if I'm going to turn up on my coaching, right? Maybe accelerate PDCA cycles or direct resources or direct training or direct funding. It's probably going to be toward Christina to help her get up to speed and ahead of schedule like the rest of the team. I'm also going to be looking very closely at Bill because Bill's deadline is proceeding, but his progress has not even begun. So, as a leader slash coach, Bill will be getting some special attention here. So this is a great tool to, within a matter of seconds, diagnose the organization to say, are we winning? Are we not winning? Where are the weaknesses? Where are we falling short so that I can direct my attention, resources, and etc. Across the top here, I can also see a few stats. I can see that there are 12 people in the system, only 10 of them have goals, and the achievement gap is about 20%. So we're 20% behind as a team where we should be at this moment in time relative to the goals we've set. I can see the same information by company, and here it looks like the company's actually doing pretty well. Ideally, you would have a 0% achievement gap. I can see that information for my team. And of course, I can see that information for myself. And right now, I'm doing pretty good here. So, what do we do? How do we help Christina? The first thing I want to do is click on Christina's profile picture here. And to the left, it'll show me a time block. And this is, the last 3 months. It'll show me her earnings over that time period. It'll show me what her goal is and her progress against her goal, what she has on her plate, what projects she's done, what she's achieved from a goal standpoint, from a project standpoint, et cetera. So gives me a really good snapshot on how well she's doing. And in this case, Christina hasn't made a lot of progress lately. So this is a great indicator that she may need further coaching. She needs further support in order to get caught up and get ahead of the game. What I'll probably want to do next is dive into Christina's storyboard. I can simply click her profile picture and get a view into her storyboard. Now, what makes Improver especially powerful when it comes to strategy execution is that it deploys a PDCA style of execution of goals, right? So, again, you've got your challenge here. And like I said, the challenge for everyone on Mike's team is the same. It's Mike's goal, essentially. So, this helps Christina set a goal in alignment with her boss's goal. So both of them are looking to reduce costs. Mike is driving operating costs to 7K. Christina is trying to decrease cost per unit to $6 each. And she's got a due date set for that. And you can see her progress over time. She started at $8 per unit. She's down to $6.75 and she's trying to get down to $6. She's 63% of the way there, but 82% of the time has elapsed. And therefore, she is pretty significantly behind schedule. You can see her trend line here. This is the green. It shows the actual data points. She hasn't done a lot in the last few months here. The blue line shows basically how you're doing against your improvement schedule, so to say. So if you are right on schedule, you'll be tracking right along with this blue line. If you're ahead of schedule, you'll be above the blue line. If you're behind schedule, you're going to be below the blue line. Looks like Christina started out strong, well above the blue line, but she hasn't made a lot of progress lately, and it looks like overall she's gotten a little bit behind schedule here. Just below that, you can see your log of iterations. Here's what she's done. This will show what she's done and what she's learned from it, and this shows what she'll be doing next, right? And if you're thinking Toyota Kata, PDCA style, you really only want to see one thing on her plate to do next. And then once she's done that, she can either learn from it or she can see some degree of improvement. And then you decide what your next step is, right? You're not going to build an action list, but you're going to essentially increment your way towards success over time. So if I'm her coach and I'm looking at this, though, I'm looking at, keep tracking cost metrics, and I see a due date of 9/22, which, okay, today is September of 2025. So as you can see, this she's a bit behind schedule, right? She's kind of gotten out of the habit of improvement. She's kind of gotten out of the cycle, right? This not only has a cost to her and her team, but this has a cost to the business overall because it's putting the entire company strategy at risk. As with the world leading best practice when it comes to driving improvement, driving strategy execution, driving PDCA, Christina's ideal coach would be her immediate supervisor. But in the event she doesn't have a supervisor that's active and that's participating, and she doesn't have that available to her, a CI director or a outside consultant or outside coach could stand in as her coach to help her drive discipline, improvement, process excellence, and all the rest. So I'll quickly show you how to set a goal, and then I'll give you some more resources that you can use to understand this process better and how it ties to some of the other features that are there in Improver. So again, I'm Mike Harrison, and we're going to go set a goal so you can see that process really quickly. So what we're going to do is set a goal for Jeff Myers since he doesn't have one yet. So in order to set a goal for Jeff, we got to go into Jeff's account. Let's navigate to Jeff's account here. Since Mike has a continuous improvement leader account type, he can actually just navigate to my company, assign roles. He can find Jeff's name here and click on this key, and it will take him directly into Jeff's account. All right, so once you're in Jeff's account, you can navigate to the storyboard. Once you're at the storyboard, you click the pencil icon next to Jeff Myers' storyboard, for example. Then it'll want to take you through a demo video to give you a good idea how to use the software. We're going to skip past this. We're going to skip the tutorial, and we're going to jump right into his challenge. Notice that his challenge is already set for him: decrease operating costs to $7K per week, because his boss, Mike Harrison, already has a goal in the system. So Jeff automatically has a challenge. So Jeff would just click next, and then he would set his own goal. And since he knows that his boss is very serious about reducing operating costs, he's going to set a goal in alignment. Now, Jeff's goal will be scoped to his specific area of responsibility, though. So for Jeff's area, he's going to be going from $4,000 to $3,500 per week, and he's going to achieve this by 11/18. He's going to hit next. It rewrites his goal statement: decrease operating costs to $3,500 by 11/18. This is a 33% improvement. And he's going to be doing weekly PDCA cycles. Could do daily, could do monthly, could do quarterly. But in this case, we're going to do weekly. Hit next. Now it wants to know what's the first thing Jeff will do to start driving improvement. He's going to create a Pareto chart of primary cost drivers. And from that, he'll be able to see where the greatest opportunities are. Hit next. And finish. And there you have it. Jeff now has a goal to decrease operating costs to 3.5K. He started at 4. He's still at 4. He's going to 3.5. Hasn't made any progress yet, and no time has elapsed. So essentially, he's on schedule, but he's got a lot of work to do. Just below that, you'll see his log of iterations. He hasn't completed anything yet, and he's got to complete this Pareto chart, and he's got a week to do it. Now, as you can imagine, if you've got a coach that is disciplined, that's consistent, that meets every week with Jeff and talks through his storyboard, asks the right questions: what's your target condition or your goal? What's your current condition? What obstacles do you see? What have you tried last? What you learned from it? What are you going to try next, and by when? This is a great tool to facilitate a natural conversation for PDCA and continuous improvement. Done at scale, you can only imagine the impact this can have when it comes to organizational transformation. All right, so let's go back into Mike's account and check out the strategy deployment page so we can see what changed. Okay, so what you saw with Mike taking a look at his boss's goal and then setting his own goal in alignment is similar to what we call the catch ball process. Every person locks in what they feel they can do to contribute to the bigger picture. So now looking at Mike's block here and looking at his team, I can see that Jeff has a new goal to decrease operating costs to 3.5K by 11/18/2025. Now, what Mike might do is go ahead and confirm that, yes, I am alignment here. Yes, we're in alignment here. We're good to go. And now Jeff is off and running. What we typically encourage leaders like Mike to do from that point is set up some regular coaching cadence so that he can keep his team on track using PDCA, using projects, using tools, Lean, Six Sigma, continuous improvement tools to help drive continuous improvement and help drive the effective execution of the company's strategy, the company's priorities. And again, as long as the goals are well set, then Mike's team's success adds up to Mike's success. And if Mike and his counterparts are successful, it adds up to Jack's success. And if Jack is successful, it adds up to the company's success. Now, what makes this model so agile is that because you're setting one goal at a time, instead of saying, hey, you got a year, you got 6, 10 goals, right? Because you're setting one goal at a time, just like with PDCA, just like with just in time, just like with Kanban and all the other lean tools. The way this works is once you get into one goal or complete one goal, achieve that goal, then you have a new perspective on the way the business works and what you need to do, right? So instead of being locked into 6 goals for an entire year, you complete that first goal in the first 2 months, more or less, right? Now you can set the next goal based on the priorities of that moment after 2 months. Instead of being locked into a potentially bad strategy for a year, you now have more pivot points throughout the year that you can change direction in accordance with the reality that you have just discovered as you've been working on this previous goal, right? That level of focus not only brings speed, but it also brings agility. Focus brings speed. Just like a magnifying glass can take sunlight and start a fire, that level of focus brings a level of speed that you just wouldn't get. The other thing is by having one goal at a time per person, you also create a level of clarity that everyone understands what we collectively are trying to do right now. And if you can achieve that in weeks as opposed to a year, you can then pivot, you can change direction, you can be more flexible to meet the needs of business as they arise. So there you have it. That's the strategy deployment and execution process inside Improver. 2 other videos I'd highly recommend that you check out. One is how to do PDCA inside Improver. I know we did a quick snapshot in here, but that video goes into a little bit more detail to show you how to use that functionality, that storyboard functionality. And the other is how to create a culture of leaders as coaches within Improver. I sure hope you enjoyed the video. Have an amazing week. Let's get better every day. Thank you.